get started. A few people still coming, but let me find my screen. There we go. So, buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos a lección.
I can't hear anything, Tad.
Oh, we can see you, Jill, and we can hear you. So, well, we can't hear you now because you've gone on mute. Oh dear. Poor Jill. I think she's between houses. She might be in an Airbnb somewhere. She sold her house last week, she was saying. So she's temporarily homeless. Hopefully we'll catch up with Jill in a wee while. Pues, ¿qué tenemos esta semana? We've got some homework from last week, more verbs practice. We're going to have a look at past tenses. We're going to do a few weeks. It's not exactly intensive, but we're going to do a few weeks where we're looking at past tenses just to help us improve our conversational skills. It's very difficult to have a conversation with somebody, particularly when you start telling them what you've been up to without dipping into the past tense. So we're going to try to improve things there. Are you back online now, Jill? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, excellent.
I didn't have any volume.
Okay, well.
I'm in a Sainsbury's car park in Plymouth.
Oh,
Right. Okay. You do live the gypsy life.
We do, yes.
Yeah. So then we're going to have a little bit of our book, and we'll have a look at some homework for the coming week. So let's press on. So last week's homework was a sheet called "Puedes decir," can you say? There's a little bit of a little test for us for our memory on there. I think most of you will know most of the things, so we'll go through it, not necessarily in order. That'd be too easy. You'd be able to learn them all. And what I want to do is surprise you and get you thinking. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of my gallery where we've got Shanta sitting there. Shanta, can you tell us the days of the week and the months of the year? Can you run through them? I bet you can.
I'll try. Lunes, Martes, and I can't remember the Wednesday. Mittwoch, that is German.
Miércoles. Don't say German. With respect to the Germans and the German language, this
Sorry.
is a Spanish. Yeah, so.
Lunes, Martes, and Thursday.
Miércoles is Wednesday.
Miércoles,
Jueves, muy bien.
And Sábado is Sunday, and some stuff.
Oh dear.
Forget the
Right.
Saturday.
Okay, homework for you this week is learning the days of the week, Shanta, and the Spanish Inquisition will be around to check later on.
Okay.
So we've got lunes,
No hay
martes.
problema.
Okay.
Month. Enero,
Yeah, enero, sí.
febrero,
Yep.
marzo,
Marzo, sí.
April,
Muy bien.
Junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre.
Yes, good. You've got the months of the year better than the days of the week. So the days of the week, just for reference: lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo.
Placido Domingo.
Domingo, sí. And there's an accent on miércoles. There's a stress on the first syllable, miércoles, and on the same on Saturday. So sábado, the stress on, there's an accent on the first A. So sábado. Just important. It's important to get those stresses right. Okay, super duper. Let's have a look at the next one. What have we got next? Puedes decir lo contrario de feo, castaño, alto y gordo. So, Ken, can you hear me okay, Ken?
Yeah, I can now. Sorry.
Okay. Have you been having trouble? So do you know the opposites of those words? The opposite to feo?
Calor. Yeah.
What does feo mean?
I'm thinking of frio. I'm thinking I've got it. No, no, I don't. I thought it was frio. It's frio. Bad.
Ugly.
Ugly.
Yeah. Feo. So.
Feo.
Bonito.
Let me just think.
Inhibido.
No, I'm sorry. I can't remember. Bonito.
Bonito. Well done. Yes, I knew you'd get there.
Got there. Bonito.
Castaño. What does
I didn't know what that is. That I didn't understand. Is that a colour?
Yeah, it's dark. So it's particularly somebody with dark hair.
So yeah. So fair. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name. Bright light hair. Can't remember.
Rubio is a blonde.
Rubio.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a bit of a trick one, that, because it's not exactly an opposite, is it? Alto.
I thought it meant chestnut.
Well, it does, yes. So what's the opposite of a chestnut?
No chestnut.
No chestnuts. Yeah.
So
Castaño.
Yeah.
It does mean chestnut coloured, I guess. Alto
is high.
Yeah.
Deeper. Bajo. Yeah. Okay.
Finalmente, gordo.
As fat gordo is fat, so delgada.
Close. Almost.
Delgado
or delgada if it's a lady. Yeah. Let's have a look at those. Hermoso or bonito, castaño, rubio. Obviously, if it's a lady, it's castaña or rubia. Alto, bajo, again, depending on the gender of the noun, and gordo and delgado. Okay, well done.
Eric?
Yes.
Is alto not tall? Don't use it for tall.
Well, high or tall, yeah.
So I had corto.
Corto.
For short.
Yeah. God, we'll allow that one. Yeah, we'll allow that, certainly. And finally, puedes decir cuatro partes del cuerpo humano que se encuentran en la cara. La cara is the face. So who should we choose for this? Sue Gockel, we've got you. Oh dear. Well, I'm just going up. That's all I'm doing. I'm just going up from the bottom. So we've got you. Do you fancy having a crack at this? I'll choose somebody else if you don't want to. Well, you're on mute, so I can't tell whether you're saying.
Look, I mean,
No,
to be honest, it dropped out just now as well. I couldn't
Oh,
hear
did it?
any of the last conversation, and it dropped out
Okay,
completely.
okay.
So I might not be the best one to have.
All
It might
right.
drop
Well,
out again.
we'll let you off, and we'll ask Giselle instead.
Sorry, thank you.
Is sitting next to you. Giselle's putting her good glasses on, so she means business here. You changed glasses especially for this. Can you?
Yeah, no, so I can focus. Doesn't too strong.
So can you name four bits of the body that you'd find on the face?
La boca,
See, which is the mouth.
la oreja,
Oveja.
el ojo,
An eye, yes. Yeah.
la nariz,
La nariz. Yep, you're there. Yep, well done. So we've got mouth, ears, nose, and eyes. Although you only had one eye, so perhaps it's a one-eyed. Okay, so I'm gonna throw it open. Who else has got any suggestions for these? I didn't include ears because I didn't think they were on the face. I thought they were around the back, around the side. But we'll allow ears to creep in. Anybody else got any other ideas?
Nariz.
labios,
Los labios. Yes. What are they?
Nariz.
Lips. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Any more?
Nariz.
We've had nose. Yeah. Nariz.
What is cheek?
Cheek.
Lip.
Mejilla. Mejilla.
Mejilla.
So las mejillas are your cheeks. Yep.
Dientes. Los dientes.
Oh, we're getting inside the mouth again. You're cheating, like you see. This is, yeah. We'll allow teeth. That's fine. Yeah.
la ceja,
Barbilla.
La barbilla. Did you say?
Barbilla.
Barbilla's chin. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Excellent.
la ceja,
El frente? Frente?
Frente, forehead. Yeah. I also had eyebrows, las cejas, and eyelashes, las pestañas.
Los gafas.
Yes, in my case, they're not bits of the body.
It's on the face.
That was my. I did include ears actually, so they're sort of in your face, aren't they? You can see them. You can see them sticking out, kind of on my head anyway. Good. Any more? Any other suggestions? No.
Did you hear me say los gafas?
I did, Tony, and that's not allowed. No.
Oh, well, it's on the face.
No, it's not a part of the body. Not unless you've got them super glued on. Okay, well done. I'm gonna throw a few more of these at you in the next few weeks. So it's surprising when you don't know what's coming how hard it is to get your head around something. So verb practice now. We're trying to have a groan then. Verb practice. We're trying to just get these verbs, regular and irregular, into our head, and these are the verbs that were suggested as the essential verbs. I'm constantly staggered by how many verbs there are in Spanish and how many I don't know, but I guess it's the same learning English. So we're going to keep practicing, and we're going to do two more today. The first one I'm going to do is tomar. which means to take, or also to drink. You use it quite a bit, especially visiting a restaurant to order food, to order drink. It's commonly used there. Sue, you thought I was going to let you off. How are you? How are you on verb conjugations? You might have been better with the bits of the face. Come on, have a go at Tomar for us. It's it's a regular ale.
It's frozen again.
Frozen. Have you? You there? We can
Yeah.
see you? Yeah.
I'm
okay.
here, but no, I'm here now. Yeah, right. Tomar,
Yeah, Tomar.
Tomás,
Yeah,
Tomar.
Tomás. Yeah.
nosotros, tomamos,
Tomamos. Sí.
tomeos y toman.
Tomáis. Yeah.
Tomaí, sorry.
Yo tomo, tomas, toma, tomamos, tomáis,
Tomanos.
and toman. Well done. And we'll find, thank you, Sue, we'll find it's also useful to know in this verb, I mean, you really need to know all the conjugations, present tense, past tense, imperfect tense, so on and so on. But the imperative is quite useful with this verb, tomar. In imperative, you remember, we use this to give a command, so to tell somebody what to do. So the informal, in other words, take, is tomar. And venga, toma el mano. Come on, take my hand. Might be a command from a grumpy granddad or a grumpy mum. So toma. If it's a negative command, with the imperative, you can't always say no. To make a verb negative, normally we just put no in front of the conjugation, don't we? Well, we do that here, but the conjugation is different in the negative, in the informal, as a rule. So, toma means take, no tomes is don't take. So, no tomes la comida de tu hermana. Don't take your sister's food. Again, might come in handy. It's a sort of command that I have to issue from time to time when talking to Spanish-speaking grandchildren. And in the formal, instead of toma, it's tome. So tomelo would be take it or drink it. Remember with the imperative mood, you can hook a pronoun onto the end of the conjugated verb in the positive. So tomelo, take it or drink it. In the negative, it's still tome, but we can't hook on a pronoun on the end of a negative verb. So we have to say no lo tome, don't take it. I don't know why they do this added little complication. It's it'd be so much easier if they just said, oh, we'll do it for both. So why they don't, I've no idea. It's just one of those annoying little things that there is in Spanish to fox us, but it's not going to fox us now. We've got it sussed. Okay, so let's just have a crack at a couple of sentences using tomar, Carl, how would you translate these into Spanish? And I'm using tomar. I know there are other ways of saying these. What would you say?
It's tomar.
Would you like a glass of wine?
If we're using tomar.
Yeah.
Thomas un
Opa.
copa de vino.
Yeah.
Gracias, pero no le tomar.
No
tomo.
No tomo would be fine.
No
I don't
tomo.
drink.
Okay, no tomo.
Yeah. I mean, you can use quiero. You could say quieres tomar una copa de vino. Perfectly good. Yeah. I mean, quieres una copa de vino is another way of saying it. Or te gusta una copa. Yeah, there's lots of ways of saying it, but with tomar. What about he has to take his medication twice a day?
Tiene que tomar.
Tiene que tomar, sí.
Tiene.
Two medication, I can't remember.
Medicamentos.
Two medicamentos, dos veces.
Dos veces, sí. Dos veces al día.
Dos veces al día, okay.
Yeah. So, there we go. That was. There are other ways of saying this. This is just a suggestion. Él tiene que tomar. Now, his medication. Medication in Spanish is medicamentos, and I've treated it as plural. So I said sus medicamentos dos veces al día. I think that's right. We tend to treat medication as a singular, don't we? Anyway,
yeah.
That's small point. Okay, our next verb is salir, and this is one of the go-go verbs. So it changes like tener changes to tengo. So who's going to have a crack at this? Who's Suzanne? You're sitting above Carl in the rogues gallery. Can you conjugate? Salgo.
Sale. Salimos. Salís. Salen.
Perfect. Bang on. Yeah. And how would you translate those two sentences?
El tren sale para Madrid a las 8:30.
Muy bien. Yeah. And it's time we left the party.
Yes. Tiempo. Yes. Tiempo que salimos.
One of the past tense for. Is it? It's not the regular one. So.
Well.
Oh,
I think you can say this in the present tenses. Yeah.
Salimos. Hace tiempo nosotros salimos la fiesta.
Yeah, you've got that pretty well.
Es hora.
So, el tren sale para Madrid a las 8:30. Perfect. I put de la mañana because it's 8:30 a.m. It's time we left the party. It is time for us to leave the party. Es hora de que nos salimos de la fiesta. And again, there are other ways around that.
I just thought hora was hour. So
but you can. It's the hour for us. It's the when the the Spanish would use hora for time. Tiempo means time. You're absolutely right. So does rato. But when they say what time is it, they say que hora es. What time is it? What hour is it? And hora is used for time in quite frequently in Spanish. So it's the hour for us to leave the party. It sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But that's one way that they would say it.
Eric.
Tony.
Could you say es el tiempo que salimos de la fiesta?
See, yeah, you could, yeah. Es el tiempo de que salimos de la fiesta. See, that's all right. The pronoun is often not needed, and it's not absolutely necessary. When we're using the we conjugation, it's always obvious, isn't it? I've left it in there for emphasis, really. That's probably why you'd use it. Okie dokie. So I sent round quite a long document, which was from SpanishDict.com, where we're talking about the preterite and imperfect tenses. I'm just going to summarize this right now. But we had a whole long piece, which is too long and complicated really to go through. I just end up reading it out. So I'm going to try to summarize. So these are the two past tenses that we really need to know best of all. I'm going to try to concentrate on them over the next few weeks, just to get them into our heads a little bit better. So we don't tend to use the imperfect very much in English. We use we stick with the preterite, and to create the imperfect tense, we often have to say I was, or we were, or I used to. So it's not used as a single verb, which it is in Spanish. So it's a little bit strange to our ears, but we do get used to it. And I rather like the imperfect because it's much easier to conjugate, and there are only 3 irregulars in the whole thing. So let's have a look at the preterite first. So when we're using the preterite, we have to we'd use it to talk about an action in the past that has been completed. Okay, that's a critical thing. So some examples there. Mi padre llegó ayer. My father arrived yesterday. María fue a la iglesia esta mañana. Maria went to church this morning. ¿Qué pasó? I've not highlighted paso. I should have done. It should be in blue. ¿Qué pasó? What happened? Excuse me. Tomé el desayuno a las 7. I took... Right. Got a coughing fit now. It was a bit croaky this morning. So, tomé el desayuno a las 7. I took breakfast at 7. These are all things where something's definitely happened and it's completed. And you can use it, you'd use the preterite when you're talking about a list of things that have been done in the past and completed. So, sale de casa, that should be an A. Sale de casa, tome el autobús y llegué a la escuela a las 8. I left the house, took the bus, arrived at school at 8 o'clock. It's a list of things which is fine, and they've all been completed. They're all finished. You can draw a line under them. Job's done. Okay. To conjugate the preterite, we need to learn these endings. Excuse me while I blow my nose. I've got a runny nose now with coughing. Okay, so the good news is that there are only 2 sets of conjugations to learn. IR verbs and ER verbs conjugate in exactly the same way. AR ones slightly differently. So to learn the conjugations, learn the endings, learn the verb endings in the preterite. Take the stem of the verb, that's the bit that doesn't include the ending, the IR, AR, or ER ending, and add the appropriate one. So we have I in yo, vivi, commis. In the to form, it's iste for IR and ER verbs, viviste, commiste. Confusingly, we get an O involved, which sort of gets us confused with the present tense Joe form. So L and ea, usted, for IR and ER is io, vivio, comio. Nosotros is imos, so we have vivimos, comimos. And vosotros isteis, vivisteis, comisteis. And ellos is ieron, vivieron, comieron. With AR verbs, a different set, similar in some ways. We have for yo, so hablar becomes hablé, I spoke. You spoke, tú hablaste. He spoke is habló. Nosotros hablamos. Vosotros hablasteis. We do get a lot of tongue twisters in the preterite. And in the imperfect too, to be honest. And ellos hablaron. Now, it's very important in the preterite to stress the endings. I've spoken about this before, I know, but you've got to hit the ending when it's got that accent on it. Hablo is it's exactly the same as hablo. I spoke. I speak. So he spoke. Habló. You've got to get the op at the end. When you try and do it, it doesn't quite work. Viví, comí, vivió, habló, hablé. You've got to get the stress there. Otherwise, it can lead to confusion, misunderstandings. Tricky to learn them, isn't it? It's tricky to get those in your head, especially if you're not using it every day. But let's give it a go. So that's the preterite. Let's have a look at the imperfect tense. So the imperfect tense we'd use for actions in the past that don't have a definite end. They can be actions that are not yet completed, or they refer to a time in general, not specific time, a time in general in the past. And it can also be used to talk about actions that were repeated habitually. We do this in English too. We'd say, we used to go to the cinema every Saturday. So in Spanish, exactly the same. Actions that set the stage for another past event. We use the imperfect to talk about time and dates in the past, about a person's age in the past, about characteristics. She had blonde hair. Also mental and physical states. I was happy at the beach that summer. Things like that. Let's have a look at some examples. Cuando era niña, jugaba con muñecas. And we've got two imperfects here, era and jugaba. So when I was a child, when I was a girl, I played with dolls. I used to play with dolls. Los chicos hablaban en español. The kids were speaking in Spanish. Estaba durmiendo cuando el teléfono sonó. So estaba is estar. I was sleeping when the telephone rang. Now, rang is in the preterite. So when you have two actions happening and one interrupts the other, one is in the imperfect and one is in the preterite. So I was sleeping when the telephone rang. The interrupting action is always in the preterite, and the action that was going on before it was interrupted is always in the imperfect. Now there's a lot to remember here, and don't expect to get it all the first time. I can see a few eyes glazing over, a few mouths starting to yawn, and I don't blame you. There's a lot to remember. Don't expect to get it all right the first time. Don't expect to remember everything. It's impossible.
Eric?
Yeah.
I read somewhere, I heard somewhere that majority of imperfect tenses can be answering to was or were, wasing or wearing.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't cover characteristics, or it doesn't cover time and date, but it covers, I suppose, a lot of perfect.
I guess when you're creating the imperfect in English, you'd use was to create it. Yeah, I was happy. And in the Spanish, you wouldn't need to say was. You just use the use the appropriate conjugation. And the last example here: cuando tenía 3 años era muy pequeño. So, to talk about ages in the past, we'd say I'm 3. You'd say tengo 3 años. I have 3 years. When you're talking about your age in the past, you would say when I had 3 years. So cuando tenía 3 años era muy pequeño. I was very small. Okay, so here's how we conjugate the imperfect. And again, IR and ER verbs have exactly the same endings. So that takes a chunk of work away from us. AR verbs have their own endings. And I rather like the AR endings. There's a lot of abbas and abbasses in there, which sound quite good fun. There are a few tongue twisters too. The other good thing is that there are only 3 irregular verbs in the imperfect, and those are ser, ir, and there. So ser is era, eras, era, eramos, erais, eran, and look those up and write them down. Ir is iba, ibas, iba, ibamos, ibais, iban. And there, well, we won't use that one quite so much. Good to know it, but it's not as critical as knowing ser and ir, which we'll use a great deal. Obviously, they're very commonly used verbs. So look at the endings. We have yo, ia, so vivia, comia, I used to live, I used to eat. Vivias, comias in the to form. The el, ea, usted form is exactly the same as the yo form. So vivia and comia. We used to live, viviamos. We used to eat, comíamos. You, in the informal plural, viviais, comíais, and vivian, comían in the eos form. Again, we've got accents throughout those, and it's important to get the stress right if you can, so that it differentiates from other examples, and it makes it clear that you're using the imperfect. As I've said before, Spanish ears are acutely tuned in to small differences in stress in the word, so we need to try to do that. And for AR verbs, we have abadabadoos, ablaba, ablabas, ablaba again, ablabamos, ablais, ablaban. Again, like the preterite, there's a lot to remember. It's really hard to remember them, but the good thing is here there's just the 3 irregulars that you need to remember. And the document that I sent through has got some tips on when you should know whether to use the preterite or the imperfect. There were some phrases that always trigger the preterite, particularly if it mentions a day or a particular time. So they might say yesterday, this morning, the other day, yesterday morning, last night. It's all a trigger that's going to introduce an action that took place and is finished. It doesn't work 100%, but it gives you a really close, a really good idea. And there are a few cheats, and I've spoken about 1 or 2 of these in the past. So you can use the verb soler, which means to usually do, and when it's used in the imperfect, it means used to. So this seems natural to an English speaker because one way that we'd create the imperfect tense in English is to say, I used to do something, or we used to do something, he used to do something. And that's one of the ways that we do it in English. That works just the same in Spanish, and it's a perfectly good way to do it in Spanish. It's good grammar. It doesn't work for every case. You can't simply say, oh, I'm not going to learn any imperfect. I'm just going to conjugate soler. So soler is an ER verb. So it conjugates as an ER verb. So solía correr, solía vivir. I used to run, I used to live. You could equally well say corría or vivía. But if you find it easier to conjugate using soler, then do it, use it. It's good grammar and it does make life easier. I'd certainly choose to do that if it was appropriate. And I know my son, who's always looking for a shortcut when it comes to learning Spanish conjugations. He uses it as much as he possibly can. There is another trick, and this is to use the progressive past tense. So you know about the present continuous tense, where you would use the appropriate conjugation of estar plus the gerund of the present participle of the verb. So if you wanted to say, I am running, you'd say estoy corriendo. Well, you can use it to create the imperfect as well. So if you said estaba, which is the conjugation I was in the past, estaba corriendo, I was running. Estaba leyendo, I was reading. Estábamos comiendo, we were, beg your pardon, we were eating. Again, you have to learn all of the gerunds, the present participles, but they're relatively easy to form. You just take the verb stem, and for AR verbs you add ando, and for IR and ER verbs you add iendo. There's one or two irregulars, like leer, to read, it has a Y in it, so it becomes leyendo, and caer, to fall, becomes cayendo, falling. But generally, that's the only two I can think of. So it's pretty straightforward. And we're going to try to introduce the progressive past while we talk about when we talk about past tenses, because it is useful. It's really useful thing to know. Okay. So often the preterite and the imperfect work together. They work in partnership. So if you're talking about something was happening and then something else happened, you've got this interruption. In this case, the action that's ongoing but is then interrupted is always in the imperfect, and the action that interrupts is in the preterite. And we've got an example here where we've got the progressive past tense, estaba corriendo, I was running, Estaba corriendo por el parque cuando me caí. So I was running through the park when I fell. And don't forget the verb to fall, caerse. It's generally a reflexive verb, so we have to conjugate it as a reflexive verb, and we need the reflexive pronoun, so me cae. But cae is preterite, estaba cayendo is imperfect. Another example here, caminaba por el centro cuando me encontré con el hermano de mi mejor amiga. I was walking through the town centre when I met the brother of my best friend. Caminaba is in the imperfect. That's an action that was ongoing. The action that interrupts that is meeting the brother, and encontrar is conjugated in the preterite. So you see how the two work together to describe those situations. The ongoing situation is in the imperfect, and the interrupting action is in the preterite. I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but we want to go into it in a bit more detail and make sure that we understand it if we can. How clear is that?
Yep, not bad.
Have we got any questions? No? Yes, no?
Yeah, can you repeat it all, please?
Repeat it all. Carl, you can watch the video, but look, don't worry about. Have a read through. If you've got a partner who's helping you with the Spanish, testing you, then have a read through it. Read through it together. Have a little test of different things. We're going to include some of this in homework, so there'll be we'll have a few exercises, and let's just try and trickle it into our heads nice and slowly. Otherwise, our heads are going to explode. It's too much to take in. Don't worry. Don't go away from this thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to understand that. It does get easier a little bit. Okay. Right. And you're already using these tenses, often without knowing it, and you're coming across them in our book in Crimen in Barcelona. There's quite a bit of imperfect in there, and I'm sure you do recognize it. So shall we have a look at Crimen in Barcelona right now? We've got time. I don't think we've got time for 2 chapters today. No, we haven't, definitely not. But we have got time for 1 chapter. And let's read chapter. Books. Got a self-closing book here. Let's read chapter 47.
Yeah.
So it's
I'm in Spanish.
Lena's getting a little bit worried. Aldo stopped calling her. Miguel and Anna aren't on the phone to her now. Who's getting offered a coffee? I'd like a coffee, please. And Lena's beginning to think she's a suspect. Enrique is having nightmares. So we're starting to wonder, are they guilty of anything more than infidelity? Is the net closing in on them? So let's have a look at Well, let's do 48. Because he thought that was a better idea when I wrote this. So there's a short paragraph and a big long paragraph. So we'll have somebody to do the short one. Bryn, do you feel like reading out the short part, chapter 48, and John? Oh, John's just gone on the phone, so we'll not. Are you John? Are you okay to do it, John?
Yeah, sorry, it wasn't. Yeah.
Okay, so John will do the translation. So Bryn, off you go. El clima.
El clima en Alaris Airlines es muy tenso. Enrique siempre está de mal humor y trata mal a los empleados. Ahora está convencido de que Ana y Miguel lo están investigando. Se dio cuenta la última vez que habló por teléfono con Miguel. Pudo escucharlo en su tono de voz. Y ahora tiene miedo.
Muy bien. John.
The atmosphere in Alaris Airlines is very tense. Enrique is always in a bad mood and treats the employees badly. Now he's convinced that Ana and Miguel are investigating him. He realized the last time he spoke with Miguel on the phone, he could hear it in the tone of his voice, and now he was afraid.
Yeah, well done. Perfect. So somebody gets the short straw here because it's a big long piece, and Julie, you've got the short straw. Susan, would you be able to? Susan Little, would you be able to translate, please?
Try.
Is that okay? Yeah, good. So off you go, Julie, when you're ready.
Esta mañana Enrique se despertó sobresaltado. Desde hace varios días tiene la misma pesadilla. En el sueño, él se encuentra en la antigua oficina de Felipe. La oficina está totalmente vacía. Las paredes son de vidrio. Detrás de vidrio hay decenas de personas mirando. Están Aldo y Lina. También hay algunas personas vestidas de traje y varios policías. Cuando baja la vista, ve que está sentado en un gran sillón, pero no es el sillón presidencial de Felipe. Es una silla eléctrica. Sus brazos están sujetados por correas. No puede moverse ni un solo centímetro. Mira nuevamente a la gente detrás del vidrio. Ahora están gritando. Parecen
Sharp, precious. Yes or no? Use in a special way. Okay, it's in the bin. Right, that's right.
That's right. I don't know what's happening there. Okay, Julia, keep going, Julie.
Varios de ellos gritan, que lo matan ahora mismo. No merece seguir viviendo. Cuando están por hacer la descarga eléctrica, se despierta.
Excellent, well done. Susan,
This morning,
Yep.
This morning, Enrique woke up suddenly. For several days, it had the same nightmare. In the dream, he's in the old office of Felipe's. The office is totally empty. It can be totally empty. The walls are of glass. Behind the glass, there's dozens of people watching. There's Aldo and Lena. Also, there are several people dressed in suits and various police uniforms. When he looked down, he saw that he is sitting in a big armchair, but it is not the presidential chair of Philippe, it's an electric chair. His arms are tied, fastened down, tied. He cannot move, not even a centimeter. Watching Movamente are the people behind the glass. Now
he looks again at the people behind the glass.
They seem to be insulting him. Various of them are shouting, murderer, what? You've now the same for you. No mercy, you will receive no mercy to live. When they were about to start the electric, he woke up.
That's right. No wonder he's startled. Well done. Yes. Good. That's excellent. There were a few interesting words and phrases. I'll put these into the lesson notes. Sometimes colloquial Spanish phrases don't make a lot of sense. La pone un poco nerviosa. Poner means to put, and so it's sort of saying put her a little nervous. It means made her a little nervous. And you know, when you think about it, our phrase, it made him a little nervous, it made her a little nervous, it doesn't make a lot of sense either, does it? Made her a little nervous, but the Spanish should say poner, put her a little nervous. Sometimes Spanish words are excessively long, I think. Mal presentimiento, a bad feeling. Presentimiento, feeling. Why can't they find a shorter word, for heaven's sake? Sigo sin entender, another one that doesn't make any sense. I follow without understanding. I still don't understand, in other words. I'm going to try to remember that next time I have a Spanish lesson. Becoming quite useful. Eso me tiene sin cuidado. So a very Spanish phrase, I thought. If you try and translate it literally, which we do when we come to a new phrase, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It means I don't care about that. But the order of the words and the meanings are a bit weird to English ears. Sobresaltado, sobre means over or above, and saltado means jumped. So above jumped above. Sobresaltado, it just means startled, shocked. La pesadilla is a nightmare. So those were our words, and I think we're pretty much out of time. So the book's getting quite exciting. We'll read the next 2 chapters this week and go through those next week. And in addition, take a look at the sheet. Puedes decir. We'll choose another couple of examples from there. Yeah, and I'm also going to send you around a little exercise in past tenses, conjugations, just to get you used to to conjugating in the imperative. We'll do those next week as well. So that's something to look forward to. Are there any questions from this week? I'm going to stop the share now. Anybody got any questions?
The homework, will it all be in the preterite or in the, what's the other one?
Imperfect.
Yes,
Yeah.
will they all be in the imperfect?
They're all in the imperfect, yes.
Right, just so we know, so there's no confusion.
Yeah,
again.
I'm not going to be that easy on you for forever. We're going to start mixing them up soon, and you're going to have to decide which one's which. It's too easy just to have one set. So, but this week I think we just got the one set. I can't remember. I did choose an exercise. I think it's all in the imperfect, so a little bit easier. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, and well done. It's a real head burster, these past tenses, but I'm sure you'll get it. So don't worry. You won't get it straight away, but you'll definitely get it in the end. So, so well done, everybody.
Cheers, Eric.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Cheers.
Nos vemos el martes.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.